माहिम में तो दरगाह जो है मखदूम शाह अली बाबा की दरगाह है, उसके पीछे की तरफ समंदर के किनारे मकान था हमारा.
That was our second place in Mahim. Before that, we had another place in Mahim where we lived, and that's what I told you about the 2 rooms where we lived in Mahim. It was, I guess, just off the main road, a small little semi-chawl, semi-cottage kind of a thing, you know.
जाकिर की माहिम की जहाँ तक की ज़िंदगी है, बस ये समझ लीजिए कि वहाँ तो उसका बचपना गुजरा है.
I remember a lot of open spaces actually of Mahim. You know, there was a lot of space in those days we could walk around in. I remember that very well. But one of the most important things I remember is the Mela in Mahim. In the olden days, they used to totally close what used to be called the cattle road, and the whole cattle road was then shops and food stalls and, you know, all kinds of halwa puris and flower shops and toys, everything. It was like heaven. We used to have the whole street to ourselves, you know, because no cars, nothing, and we playing cricket and we are running around the streets and having halwa puris and, you know, just totally incredible. You know, that was the best thing that happened in Mahim in those days.
और वहाँ मेला होता था, तो उस मेले में जैसे कि वो संदल निकलते हैं, लेके फिरते हैं ना सिरों पे, और आगे ढोल ताशे सब बजते हैं. तो उसमें वो एक पठान थे, तो वो ढोल बजाते थे, पठानी ढोल, वो टोटा.
The leader of that band was Miskin Lala. We used to call him Miskin Lala. And I used to look forward to their band coming and going in the urus, you know. They used to run those processions of offerings to the dargah. And the procession used to wind its way all around the cattle road and around Sitla Devi Road and around the police station in Mahim and all the way back into the dargah. It used to take at least 7 or 8 hours. And my thing was to go with that procession. I used to love that because there was these Siddhis, as they call them, you know, basically Negroids, people who are the descendant of African Arabs, who basically settled somewhere in Andhra or something. But they have that rhythm and they have that tradition, a Negroid tradition. And they play the drums and they dance. They used to start very slow, very, very slow. And by the time the hour ended, they were like frenzy pace.
अब्बा जी हम सब बैठे हुए थे, तो उन लोगों ने आके कहना शुरू किया, अब्बा जी आप जल्दी देखिए, जाकिर तो ढोल बजा रहा है. तो जब हम गए वहाँ देखा, तो मिस्किन लाला ने क्या किया, अपने उनके भाई बजाते थे ढोल साथ में, और वो पठानी में उठा के जाकिर के गले में पहना दिया, और जाकिर के घुटनों से भी नीचे ढोल आ रहा. और इतना बड़ा ढोल उसने कभी ढोल नहीं बजाया, और वो लकड़ी के साथ जो बजता है, और वो ऐसे बजा रहा था जैसे कि सारी ज़िंदगी से ढोल ही बजा रहा है.
बस ये ढोल बजाने का इसको, और जितने दरगाह मोहल्ले के या वहाँ के माहिम के जो लोग थे, वो पैसे इसके ऊपर से बार बार के उसको, यानी इतने पैसे उसको मिलते थे कि वो जब भी उसका संदल का होता था इसको ढूंढता था कि कहाँ है वो, क्योंकि पूरे माहिम के लोग इसको ज़रा प्यार भी बहुत करते थे.
Miskin Lala band, the Pathani band, had this Fakir Muhammad who played the dhol, and he would play the dhol like we play tabla. All the laggi patterns and all the relas and all that stuff, all beautiful baya work, you know, all the thing with the stick. I don't know how he did that, but all the terekitas and everything, you know, it was like hearing tabla but on the dhol. on a dhol and doing all these fantastic things. It was incredible, with sticks. Then there was a tasha marfa band. You know what a tasha marfa is? Tasha marfa is the thing that's played like this. And one of the exciting thing about that was that the interplay between the tasha marfa and the bass drum player, I still haven't figured out how so well connected they were and how they managed to do that. It was like the tabla or the baya, you know, working together, interplay between the two. That interplay between the two, that I control myself here with two hands, these two men controlled playing the two parts separately. And that was incredible. We used to watch them play this tasha marfa, and this guy's playing all these incredible things that supposedly I would do on the tabla, and the baya, the bass drum, is being played by another person. And he's playing just the exact parts that are needed to make it a whole. And that was just something so fantastic to watch. And I used to walk with them for an hour, just watching them. And then Miskeen Lala's, this Patani band, right, the Tota band. And we knew them somehow. My father knew him or something. So they used to sometimes allow me to get onto one of the drums. And so I'd get it in my neck and stand there and walk with the procession playing that drum. It was a highlight for me of those melas. And of course running to the giant wheels and getting on them, and the chart, everything. Those 10 days of the Urus was a fabulous time. And we used to have a great time. Tabla was an accepted, essential, but in many ways unnoticed part of my life. I just did it. I mean, I love to do it. I loved playing tabla, but I did not love sitting for 5 hours and playing tabla. I played for 10 minutes and I ran out and I wanted to play cricket with my friends or kho-kho or whatever it is that we used to play in those days. And then tiring of that, running in again, sort of walking around and then suddenly sitting on the tabla and whipping out a few things and running off again. So tabla was like a continuing returning point. Always in my life. I mean, I went to books, I came back to tabla. I went to eat, I came back to tabla. Played, came back to tabla. Slept, came back to tabla. I mean, always. And it seemed like the most natural thing to do. I did not even realize the importance of what I was doing. I just grew up with it, and it was just as natural as it could be. Because when I was there, I was in my elements. I was alone. I knew I was capable. I knew I was strong. I knew what I was doing. And I knew that I was at that time just as good as anybody else in the world at whatever they do.